a librarian at the Ames Public Library.
I'm Cathy. I'm also a librarian at the Ames Public Library.
We're here to give you some recommendations for our third annual 12 to Try reading challenge. For the month of January, the challenge is a book you've been wanting to read for a year or longer. Stay tuned for our suggestions or come to the library and check out our display promoting the challenge. Cathy, what's your first book you chose?
I'm excited about this one because there are a lot of books that I have been wanting to read for ages and ages and have never gotten around to. So this gives me the perfect excuse to do that. My first one is called Praisesong for the Kitchen Ghosts, Stories and Recipes from 5 Generations of Black Country Cooks by Wilkinson. And so, good save, I'll hold it. So it begins with a dive into the author's family history. Her family is from Appalachia, and she starts with the story of her enslaved great-great-great-great-grandmother.
Oh, wow.
About whom there are very few records, but lots of family stories and a couple of recipes. And so it travels through the subsequent generations of women. It talks about feeling connected to the past generations of women in her family through these recipes and stories that have been passed down. And it's full of family photos as well as all of these delicious recipes from her Black Appalachian family. I would recommend it for people who are interested in like family history and genealogy, kind of the ways that we're connected to the people who came before us, as well as food history and who just like storytelling. She does a really good job connecting like the historical and the emotional context with each recipe to like her family's story.
That's cool.
I'm looking forward to sinking my teeth into that. What's your first book?
My first book, it's very different. So this is good variety.
Good.
Mine is a novel. So it's called Brutes by Diz Tate. I put this on hold when it first came out in 2023 and didn't want to read it. And then I thought about it again in summer 2024, checked it out, wasn't in the mood, didn't read it. And it was still kind of in the back of my mind. So this year I finally read it in like May and I loved it. So I'm really glad I waited. It's definitely a summer type of book. It's set in Florida and it's about this gang of like feral, unsupervised 13-year-old girls. They're all best friends, and the narration at the first part is like a mind meld of all of them like talking together, which is really cool. They have all these observations about the world around them, and they just like terrorize people in like a harmless way. But it starts out as a story about a missing girl that they know. She's the daughter of a famous TV preacher who lives by their apartment complex that they like wander around all day. And it turns into a lot more than that. There's this like dark, polluted lake behind the building that like haunts them in a weird way, and other symbolism about like sinister hidden forces like from the adult world. I'd say it's about adolescent reality. It has kind of like a charmed, magical quality to it with intense emotional highs and lows. There are also flash forward chapters to their adult selves, which are really interesting.
Ooh,
they all end up in really different places. It's really inventive and vivid and kind of weird. If you like literary fiction and don't mind like poetic, descriptive language, I think you'll enjoy this. It's definitely not for everyone, and it wasn't for me for like 2 years, but when I finally read it, I'm really glad I did.
Sounds fascinating.
Yeah, it's cool.
Wow, good recommendation. So that last one that I talked about came out in 2024, so I had been wanting to read it for just a little bit. This series is a series of young adult novels, and the first one came out in 2015, and I read it and loved it, and then did not read the remaining 3. So this is my chance to do that. The first one is checked out right now, but the second one is The Torch Against the Night, the third one is A Reaper at the Gates, and the fourth one is A Sky Beyond the Storm, all by Sabaa Tahir. So it is a dystopian world basically organized into 2 classes: the scholars who have been oppressed and enslaved over generations, and the marshals who were the ruling kind of military class. And it follows 2 main characters: Laya, whose brother was kidnapped by the Empire, and she goes undercover at the Marshal Training Academy to figure out what happened to him and to see if she can get him back. And Elias, who's in training at the Marshal Academy but really doesn't want to be. He is planning his escape and then is chosen to compete in a set of trials to see who's going to be the next emperor, kind of against his will. So the two meet and continue working toward their shared goals. In the first book, there was maybe like a hint that they were going to be something, but since I haven't read the other three, I can't tell you. I don't get the sense that it's very heavy on the romance. It is a young adult series. I would recommend it for anybody who likes books with a series of trials or games or tests. And also with really good character development. Like the fact that they're both so highly motivated for their individual goals is really cool. And I really like the world and the mythology that she's started to develop.
Cool.
So, yeah. So that'll be my project for a little while because those books are not small.
No. Are there more coming out, or is this
is the
whole
end.
thing?
I think this last one came out a few years ago. So this will be
Cool.
the end of that series. What's your
Nice.
last one?
My last book, it's Rebecca by
Ooh.
Daphne du Maurier. It came out in 1938, so it's older. I've always loved the Alfred Hitchcock movie version and have been curious about the book for probably a decade. But I finally read it just last month, and it's so fantastic.
Ooh.
It's got this really gothic atmosphere and beautiful settings and descriptions. There's also a romance with like a dark secret and suspense. It's a really thrilling plot with twists right up to the last sentence. The narrator is never named. She's not Rebecca. She's a young woman who's swept up into a romance with a wealthy man on vacation. And after an impulsive whirlwind marriage, she moves into his grand estate, Manderley, where she realizes that his previous wife, Rebecca, died only a year ago and left a strong presence. She seems to have been adored by everybody, and stuff happens from there. The narrator is incredibly insecure and anxious, and it's told through her perspective, so you really get inside her head. I felt for her because, she's the one you're hearing all of this from, but she can also be frustrating with her, constant, imagining what people are thinking of her, what could happen in the future. It's just, you feel like her anxiety the whole time. And you also get more and more worried about her as the story goes on. The character of Mrs. Danvers, the head housekeeper, is so chilling. I think she is the best part of this book. I loved every scene with her. I still can't decide whether the book is better or not, because the movie is pretty much perfect, but this was definitely worth the read. I'm not usually a mystery person, but I couldn't put this down. It was so great. There were a few small but key details changed for the movie to make it morally acceptable, because it came out in 1940. So I'm really glad I read the full story, and it deepened my understanding of the characters too. Cool. So if you like romance, if you like mystery, if you like creepy old houses and, anything in that description, I think you'll get a lot out of this.
I love a gothic setting. And it's interesting because I haven't seen the movie, so if I read the book first, I'll be interested to see if the order we can compare and see if the order you did it depends on which one you like better.
The book really they really closely match each other, but
cool.
Both amazing, both worth your time for sure.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing, Clelia.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and if you need any other recommendations, come see us at the library.